So training them to find their voices within gatherings of musicians, to feel that they have something to offer that can enrich the tradition, that it's not slavish repetition. Good teachers say, like, just repeat, fill in the bubble, and get the answer right. That's a level of education that you have to do. And at some point, musicians, I think Jesuit educators, want to risk allowing students to reach into their hearts, to live within the Spirit, and to have a greater practical engagement with the material and the world around them. Because if you read the Little Prince, the key is it's not repetition. It's the responsibility for what you obtain. It's the responsibility for friendship, of falling in love with a tradition that is bigger than you, a tradition that you will never know the full width and breadth of, but a tradition where you find your voice and find your place. Theologically, I mean, think how many problems we could avoid theologically arguing with people. We could just say, hey, big church, big tent. Let's figure this out together. We're all playing in the same. We're playing reels and jigs. Let's all do it together. It's doable. And because they have been trained, this goes back to the topic, the title. Because the students have been trained in playing with all the notes that they've been given. Just 8 notes. The tin whistle only can do 8.5 notes. I mean, it's not a very complicated, clearly it's not complicated because I can play it. It's a very simple instrument. But any musician who has been well trained and can competently play knows when notes are missing, is able to identify when something is not present within the music. And as teachers, who should know better, when we find something missing in the music, a missing note, a missing voice from our classroom, it's incumbent upon us to reach out and help that voice be heard, to recover that note. Like, if you were sitting there, I used to play in a bar every Monday night. That was basically my parish, I think, for the last 5 years. In Boston. Sometimes you get really amateur musicians coming in, and you have no idea what they're doing. And you can get angry, or you can try and kick them out. Or you try to do the charitable thing and say, hey, why don't you come sit by me? What are you doing over there? I play the accordion too, the piano accordion, so I can be louder than anyone usually. And kind of drown them out, or try to find what's missing in this person's music and invite them to hear what they obviously are not hearing and to find their voice in it. So the whole point there is that unless we have all the notes, the instrument is useless. Unless we have all the notes, we can't all play together. But once we, each one of ourselves, having in the heart found the notes necessary to play the music, and having been encouraged by the Spirit, we can go out and help gather the notes needed for other people to play, to give them the courage to take a stand, to take up an instrument, to speak up. There is no shortage of people who are alienated and not represented within music, within the church's tradition, within classrooms. It is an act of musical courage, practically, to reach out as Jesus did and bring them to the center. There's a story in Mark 3, Jesus in the temple. Great story of the man with the withered hand who's lingering at the side of the temple. And the Pharisees and Sadducees are having their towards the center, where all the religious are, at the center of action. And they, oh, look how good we are. We're having fun because we're good. And there's the man with the withered hand who has probably come to the temple very many times. He's got his withered, he's crippled, and he hides it. No, don't want anyone to know that I'm handicapped. I don't want anyone to look at my deformity because, what will they think? How will they think? And then of all people, you have Jesus. You, come here. I mean, that's absolutely terrifying. I mean, you get this guy now. You get this. Like me? His head in me. You want me to come forward? He comes forward. And Jesus heals his hand. He restores him to the center. He's restored because he's come to know Jesus. The practical action of Jesus is not to talk a good game, but in word and deed to go out and bring the margins and the frontiers to the center where he is. this is our task as Jesuit educators, it is our task as Irish musicians, that we are freeing people, finding those notes that, and sometimes it's giving them the notes to play. Like, you can do this. You can succeed. But that's our way of extending and prolonging the work of the Spirit in the model of Jesus Christ, the ongoing work of creation in history, helping to gather people into God's kingdom or into God's symphony, so that each one of us finds our notes and can play and pray together forever. Amen.
Amen.
So,